Alright guys, so this Patreon request comes from Hunter Johnson, and if you guys would like to have a Patreon request done, just hit the link below, head on over to my Patreon where you guys can hit the 4th tier, and then start sending requests for me to do here on YouTube. But anyway, let's get started with this video, and this is actually not so much a fight video as it is a full-on crossover video. And yes, as you can see from the title, it's Darth Vader versus Emperor Belos. It's a Vader versus Belos story. So let's get into it. So the story begins with, I guess you could say this somewhere nebulously in the dark times, and the Emperor has sent Vader to a distant planet with a Sith temple that was discovered during an archaeological dig. For those who don't know, the Emperor was kind of big on doing like these big digs here and there throughout the Empire's history. He was looking for new temples, Jedi, or Sith that were lost to time, so you could pilfer the knowledge within it. So in this story, a new one has been discovered, and Vader has been sent to investigate it. So when Vader arrives at the temple, Vader is kind of inspecting the hieroglyphs, and he's already noting that something's not right here. Like, something doesn't, like, generally feel okay. Like, he's looking at the carvings on the wall, and he's like, this doesn't feel like Sith work. Like, this doesn't feel in any way, shape, or form like actual, like, Sith carvings or Sith energy. This feels like something less. Like, this feels, well, not something less, something more. And this feels more like magic. And Vader's no mystery to magic. Obviously, the witches of Dathomir and Palpatine also studying in that magic. So Vader's accustomed to it, but he doesn't feel like Sith magic to him. And as he's looking more, he basically feels like this, he sees like this is leading to somewhere else. And it's like another planet. He thinks it's another planet, but it's really another world, referring to the Boiling Isles, where basically witches from Dathomir use their magic to reach out into the universe, into the multiverse, to find other forms of magic, and that's where they discovered the wild witches of the Boiling Isles. And through that, the witches of Dathomir and the Night Sisters and the Wild Witches were like communicating and kind of sharing magic. That was until the Sith arrived and slaughtered all the Night Sisters on this planet, and then they took it, and then they proceeded to pervert the magic that the Wild Witches taught the Witches of Dathomir. So Vader, curious about this, goes further into it, and more or less finds out that there was like a spell that could lead to another universe. And Vader's like, all right, I'm curious. So he's at first like, maybe I should go tell Palpatine. I should inform my Emperor of this change. And what happens is that Vader just has this moment of, perhaps not, because he's thinking either I can find a way to save Padme, or I can finally like find a way to usurp Palpatine. Either way, nothing ventured, nothing gained. So Vader basically, essentially uses the Sith uses this kind of amalgam magic to end up in the Boiling Isles. Now, keep in mind, this is like, I guess you could say like, before the events of Season 1, like, this is the height of Emperor Belos' power, before the arrival of, Luz and the whole rebellion against him, everything that happened on the Boiling Isles. So Vader has ended up on the Boiling Isles, and he's like, I have no idea what the hell any of this is, but I'm going to figure it out. So Vader essentially travels the Boiling Isles, and at first he's like accosted because he's like, hey, you, witches aren't allowed to use magic, wild magic. And Vader's like, the only there's no magic, only the Force. And he just ignites his lightsaber, just fucking kills these guards. And immediately the guards are like, oh my god! Because they're used to like inspiring fear and like scaring people and not getting much of a threat from rogue witches. But this one, they're like, this wizard has just shown up this wizard with a breathing problem has just shown up and killed like a bunch of our guards. And Vader, like, one guy tries to run, he's like, no escape, and he just pulls the guy right into his lightsaber. He just, like, picks him up with the Force, pulls him into his lightsaber, and he's like, I assume you have a leader? Take me to them. So the last guy leads him to Belos' castle, and that's where the Emperor's Coven is there to greet him, because Belos is like, it's just some fucking weird wizard. Deal with it. I don't care. Like, I'm communing with the Titan right now. So the Emperor's Coven, they all meet Vader, and Rain is the first to go, that's not a witch, that's something else, and everyone else is like, fuck you, fucking whatever, let's get him. But Vader ends up just annihilating the witch's coven, because he's like, he's not using any kind of magic. What is this, telekinesis magic? What is this? And he's like, no, this is the dark side. And this is, of course, eventually gets Vader, Belos' attention, and Belos is like, look, dude, I don't know why you're here, but, whatever you are, this ends now. And Vader's like, yes, it certainly does. So Vader and Belos fight, and Vader actually, like, gets knocked around, because even, like, he goes to stab Belos, and he's like, fascinating. And then Belos just knocks him away. Vader has to, like, force pull his lightsaber back, and Belos doesn't admit it, but that hurt, and then he realizes, oh, I know what you are. The old text used to talk about ancient wizards talking about, the wild witches of the past, communing with forces outside. You're what they call a Sith, right? Or a Sith apprentice? And he's like, no, there is only a master of the Sith. And he is me, and he is I. So Vader and Belos just tear through the castle through each other. Vader, even though he's heavier and slower, he is keeping his pace with Belos. He is just going round for round with Belos the entire fight over and over again, until eventually he and Belos gets his arm cut off. He's like, oh god, I can't. And he's every time the lightsaber strikes him, and Vader uses, like, he can even, like, force choke him. And the thing of it is, people are seeing this. Like, the Emperor's Coven is, like, seeing this unfolding before them, and they're like, maybe he's not as strong as he's letting on, until Belos is like, last-ditch effort, I was trying to find a way to get back to, I was trying to find a way to get to Earth, but can't do it. I was trying to find a way to use the door, but can't do it. I need to save face right now. So he uses the spell he was working on as a draining spell in a portal. He throws him back to his unit. He uses his magic to throw him back, and everyone's like, my Emperor Belos, are you all right? He's like, I'm fine. The Titan gives me strength. And Darius and Rain are already like, I don't know. So that kind of implants the seed of doubt between them. But Vader eventually is, like, thrown back to his universe, and Palpatine's been like, Vader, where the hell have you been? And Vader's like, a journey. And Palpatine's like, really? I look forward to hearing about this journey, my old friend. And Vader returns to Coruscant. So there you go, guys. That is pretty much the Darth Vader versus Emperor Belos story. I'd like to thank Hunter Johnson for this story, as well as his continued patronage. And like I said before, if you guys would like to have a Patreon request done, just hit the link below. Head on over to my Patreon, where you guys can hit the 4th tier and start sending requests for videos for me to do here on YouTube. But other than that, hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.